Okay, we're back. Yesterday we did not film with Bella, and real honestly, I didn't do a ton with her. I went back and forth to the shop a few times. I heeled her on lead probably once or twice out of the 3 or 4 times that we did that. The rest of the time I just let her kind of come down, kind of free casting with us. So we're not, with her, we're under no time crunch at all. We're not rushing anything. I don't have her for a certain window. If you're new to kind of following some of the stuff we're doing, we've done lots of series with different dogs, and we're just finished up one called Cody Go Back, where we taught a dog hand signals. But the tough part about that series was we had a relatively what I would call a short period of time to do it in, and we had a hard press date that we had to be done by, because Cody, and we don't have to be done by it, but we had to have her ready for. She's on her way up to Saskatchewan right now on a duck hunt, so and a goose hunt. So we had a window that we had to get to a certain point by. We have no windows, no set in stone dates where we have to be anywhere with her. We're going to get where we're going to get when we get there, and that's just fine. So I think, especially with young puppies, I do think that they need it more so than an older dog. I do think the old dogs need it, and we ran into it with Cody. I run into it with my personal dogs. We hit these walls when we try to do something, and I'm a big fan of repetition and consistency. I think that's how you form habits. When it comes to formal working on something, formally working on lessons, drills, different setups, I think that if you do it over and over and over again, the dogs just need a break at a certain point, mentally probably more than physically. So I don't think you stop doing stuff with them. I just think you do something different with them. And so with her, we're very consistent day to day with certain habits. We don't, and maybe more so avoiding bad ones. We don't allow bad habits to set in with her. And we're 100% with that. If we do see something forming, we make sure to change it immediately. As far as like formally working on, I've got a list of things that we're working on with her: steadiness, retrieves, delivery, heel work, remote sit, recall, sit to the whistle. That's just off the top of my head stuff that we're working on. But none of it is stuff that we do every day. We do a drill for sit to the whistle. Every day we do a drill for retrieve. Every day, we don't do that. We mix that in. What we do is patience, steadiness, control, behavioral stuff like jumping up, nipping, messing around with stuff on the ground. That's every day. That's consistent. That's not just during lessons, that's in between lessons. And I think that's a real important point to understand. So with her, one of the things I'm going to show you today is, and I did it this morning with her when we were doing some heel work. I put her on lead this morning, and I took my rest of my dogs out. When we get up in the morning, we let them out right away, and we take them for a walk. And I let the other dogs kind of go and do their business, so they get out in the woods and off the yard and do their bathroom stuff. With her, I typically let her kind of run with them. Today I put her on the lead. And so one of the things I'm going to show you is something that I started this morning with her. It has helped me. I started doing it with Spry as well. It's something that I picked up off of a video. I had never done it before. I bought a video. It's filmed, I don't know, it was filmed in the 90s from a trainer in the UK. And so we are going to I'm going to show you that, because I think it's a little heel trick that will help her out. And she didn't do real good with it. She struggled with it a little bit, but it's a habit I'm going to start with her, because she's big enough now and she does understand. This isn't what I would do to start out the concept of heel work, but it's something I would build in as we go with it. So I'm going to start her out. Bella, heel. No different than what we've been doing, nice loose lead. I don't want to put tension on it. And she's probably not going to do it as much right now because the other dogs aren't with, but she had a tendency to really want to get out this morning because we had other dogs that were free running, and she's used to that. She's used to being able to kind of free run with them. So I think that was part of why she wanted to be a step out. Nose doesn't go down. We can either correct that with the lead, or I can swoop my foot underneath her. She's got to get that nose up. But she's doing pretty well right now. So this is what that guy does. So he takes the lead and he puts it behind his leg. And what's going to happen is, and she's doing a pretty nice job with it right now, if she had this tendency to want to go out, what happens is every time I take a step back with my left leg, it bumps that. She feels it. So she's almost self-correcting herself when she feels it. And so the timing of it is real good. That wasn't a real easy way to see it because, man, the bugs are back here. That wasn't real easy. That wasn't real easy to see it. And so I don't want to start it out behind there because she has a tendency to kind of want to go behind me. So I started out the way I normally do. And this is that, I talk about like having your hands on home row. This is that spot where it feels comfortable. I think you need to get used to this. Home row, if you were typing keyboard, you always go back to those same letters. With her, I always go back, and with any of my dogs, I go back to that same spot on the leash. And it just depends on where it is with each dog, depending on how tall they are. So with her, I'd be about right here. I'm not even touching this part. With most of my dogs, I'm about right. My fingers are usually touching this part. With her, it's a little bit less because she's a little bit shorter. So I can get correction on right there, and it's a real sharp and crisp way for me to get it. But with her, we're gonna start out, Bella, heel. Good. And then as I would get going with her, if she was pulling out in front of me just a bit, I just wrap this around. And I find that sweet spot. And she's actually hanging back a little bit. Good. So we don't really need that. Well, there's a little bit of it. So as I speed up and walk at a pretty good gait here, if she gets too far ahead, you can see just slightly, she feels that every stride, it's just a reminder to her, but it's very consistent. It makes sure that we don't miss it. So if I'm up here and we're walking at a quick pace and I quit paying attention to her for a second and she gets out in front a little bit, that's a slippery slope where you give them an inch and they can take a foot. So by putting this lead behind me, every step I take, there's a reminder to her. And I think the dogs have a tendency to stay back that half step. My preference is a half step back rather than a half step forward. That's just my personal preference. So that was nice. Let's keep working on a little bit of heel with her into her. This is the first time we've done that today. So we used to have to kind of warm her up to the idea of turning into her. And you can see it's becoming a little bit more reactive for her. She's just getting it. She's starting to understand the feel of walking backwards and being okay with it. Kind of leading with her hind quarter there is what she's doing. Good girl. Good girl. I'm in between her and the dummy. So if she were to go, I'd be able to intercept her. Not gonna let her fool around with the leash. I go out, pick them up myself. Good girl. Again, I like to push a little bit of steadiness on these young dogs. Some people don't. I do. I feel like they're capable of it, and I feel like it's going to help me greatly to not train in a dog that's not steady heel, and then have to steady them up. And I'm going to show you why I say that is important. Good. I don't want her to sit automatically on the stop. I do when I keep the whistle. Good girl. Good girl. A little more tempting. Now, this one will be a lot more tempting. And you can see it. Good. Good. It's a lot more tempting because instead of me being in between her, I was to the side of her. If she had ran after that dummy, I don't know that I could have got to her before she got to it. So you gotta be careful, don't do it until you know you're getting to the point of this steadiness, but that was a lot more temptation for her. Very good. Good, heel. Now what I am gonna do is reward that steadiness. Good. And did you see that little bit of excitement where she lays down, she wants to really go? I don't get concerned about a dog's drive for retrieve. Not a retriever. Nope, heel. Good. Good. The last thing I'm typically worried about with a retriever is retrieve. If they're bred well, you're not going to run into problems getting them excited with retrieve. Sit. 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 Good. Sit. Take a step forward. Sit. Watch. Bella. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Not in a hurry to take it away. Good girl. This is a big dummy though, so you gotta be careful because she's probably gonna have a hard time holding on to it. Good girl. Good girl. Good. Good. It's a real good example. Heel. Heel. So all I was doing there before I sent her was didn't want to send her out on a panic. Didn't want to send her out without focus. All I was looking for was just the slightest little bit of focus. Sit. Come on. Come on. Sit. 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 Good. Good. Good girl. Good girl. Put that dummy away before you get back to her. Good. But you can see one little retrieve and all of a sudden she gets a little wired. Very nice. Good. Bella, heel. Come on. Come on. Out of position. Heel. Heel. Come on. Come on. Got her off the lead, so we got a little bit of a curveball to her heel. Put that lead on and look at the difference. So you just always go back to the lead when you need to. Now my goal right now, or my objective is, let's get a little bit off lead. Heel, heel, heel. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Touch her with it. She doesn't know if I got her or not. Heel, 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 heel. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Bella. Heel. Heel. Good girl. Good girl. Good. Come on. 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 Good. Good. Come on. Good girl. Good girl. Come on. Good. Good. Good girl. Good. 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 Bella. Here, 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 here. Good girl. Good girl. Here, 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 here. Here. Bella. Here, 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 here. Sit. Sit. Good. Now it rolled off a little bit, right, into the cover. So one of the things that we're going to do here before we put her up is we're going to use this tennis ball and we're going to get her to picket and cover. We're going to do that hunt command that we did before with the food. Bella. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good dog. Good dog. Good dog. Hold. Good. Hold. Good. Dead. Dead. Come here. Good. Hold. Good. 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 Give it back to her. Good. Dead. Here. Here. Come on. Come on. Come on. Good. Good girl. Come here. 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 See her start to ramp up. Sit. Good. We don't want her losing control. Here. 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 Good. Good. Sit. Sit. Good. Bella. Good girl. Good girl. Here, 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 here. No, 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 no. Good. 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 Good girl. Good girl. She's right on that verge of... So a lot of people call BS on me when I say my dog gets excited. Yeah, my dog gets excited too. And so when she does, when she starts to ramp up, which she is, she's chomping on her leash, she's getting loose, she's starting to tuck her tail. I had someone that messaged me, they call them the zoomies. My dog gets all wound up and runs wild and sit, sit. And what do? And they said, your dogs never do it. You just saw it. Good. So I slow down. This is the most exciting some of the most exciting things we've done with her. Tennis balls? That's the first time she's picked up a tennis ball. Sit. So that excitement level on that tennis ball was high. That's the most energy she's shown. I mean, so going back to the idea of, I hear people talk a lot about building up the drive in these dogs. I think you better be real careful, because I think the majority of the dogs have more drive than most people want and can handle. Come on. This dog is from some really fine breeding. She's got real great disposition, real great temperament. She's very sweet. She's I do consider her to be a pretty calm dog. She's not the calmest dog in the world, but she's pretty calm. That's something that's part of her. But the reason you see it more often than not is cultural, not genetic. We just don't allow that to happen. Sit. Because if we do, it's a long road. Don't train it in now and then decide to train it out later. And if you know anything about us, or by now you should know, we don't put a lot of pressure on these dogs. I don't think you need to. I don't want dogs doing things out of fear. I don't want dogs doing things because they're avoiding pain or pressure, and literally pain at times. I don't do that. And I'm not saying our way is this way. I shouldn't say our way this way. I shouldn't say this way is the way to do it. It's the way that I prefer. We're not going to put a collar on her ever. It's a British dog. They don't put collars on those dogs for a reason. And so we don't, and we won't ever. Good. But you can tell that level of excitement was really amplified, and that's great because I know it's there, and we're going to need it at times. We're most definitely going to need it at times, but 99% of the time we don't need it, don't want it. I would much rather have this, which I think a lot of people would like to have dogs that do this at 5 months. Good. Heel. So we let her kind of come back down and resettle. And then I can just go back into my little heel work here with her, where I tuck behind and she kind of self-corrects herself. So this is a little tactic that I'll probably do when I've got her with other dogs, because that was when the problem was coming up, was that she wanted to get out too far. Now she's still bumping. If she's self-correcting herself, she's out too far. And what she'll do is she's just through repetition, she's going to get to the point where she goes, if I stay back a half a step, I don't get bumped. It's much more comfortable. Good dog. And then occasionally I'm going to turn into her. And that was real nice responsiveness. And then we'll pull forward without giving her a chance to quit. Good. Good. So that's it for this heel work stuff. Ben's gonna come with me. We're gonna go on the other side. I got a little piece of cover over there. We're gonna use the dummy, not the tennis ball. We're gonna use the dummy because the tennis ball clearly gets her pretty jacked up. So we're gonna go over there. We're gonna use the dummy. We're gonna throw the dummy into a little bit of cover, and we're gonna give her a little hunt command and let her start finding it and getting this cue of find it. And when they're little, I use find it. When they're older, I switch it over at a certain point to lost, 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 lost. Because I think that's a little more calming. And the objective is to get a dog to hunt an area, not just run. It's to stay in there, hunt the area. So I use find it with dogs early because I want to get them excited about the idea of there's a reward, and I just got to use my nose to get it. I'll change the command down the road here a little bit, but we haven't done it with her yet, so we're gonna see. We did do it with some kibble in the yard. We did it with some food, so let's go over there and we'll do that quick, and then we'll put her back up. Heel. All right, I want to show you now. There's a few things that I've added here. We're off the gravel, and right away it becomes much more distracting to her. So just doing heel work over here would be a struggle probably. I'm gonna see how this goes. Maybe she's not ready for it, but I'm going to take this dummy. I want to show you how we're going to introduce her to hunting into a little bit of cover. I leave these clumps of grass on purpose. We have different sized ones. We just use them throughout all of our different dogs training, but I've got a little small one here. The cover is pretty tall. You could do this with a younger dog. I don't know that I'd put a younger dog into much more cover than that. I want them to go in there pretty bold. The reason we're going to do it pretty quickly is the mosquitoes are really bad too. But I'm gonna get a dummy here. Before I do that, I'm gonna take this, because we are gonna send her in without the lead. So we're gonna tuck this around. And she's kind of forgetting about it already, especially when we get retrieves in. Come on. Now there's a lot of distraction for her down there. Come here. So to start out with, I am just gonna throw it into the little bit of cover, Bella. And it's just good girl. See how she lost it now? Good girl. Good. Here, 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 here. Here, here. Here, here. Good. 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 Sit. Sit up. Sit up. Good. Hold. Hold. Good. Did. Good. Sit. Good. So you could see how she ran in. She ran in, she jumped all over it, and right away she lost it. And she kind of froze and looked around, and then she picked it up, obviously. Then we had a little bit of a free run. And I'm not big on that, but I'm not gonna, this is a new drill. The idea of this is to get her to use her nose and cover. I'm not gonna continue this until we can get better with delivery and in distracting areas. She delivers really well on the driveway, you've seen that. So we'll have to get her delivering in here on grass. I'll show you how we're gonna do that. I'm gonna do one more just to give her, because we're here, I'm gonna give her a chance. Now, my order with it, come on, sit. I want her, so that time I covered her eyes and she didn't necessarily see it. And so I am gonna let her hunt it here. Bella. And this will have to be with her nose. Very good. Here, 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 here. Good. Much better. Much more control. Center that out. Good. Hold. Good girl. Did. I'll take it from her. I'll give it back. Good. Hold. Come on. Sit up. Sit up. Good. Did. Good. Here. Come here. Come here. Sit. Hold. Hold. Good. Good. Did. Did. Very nice. And that's it. That's plenty. The bugs are awful right now. So we got a nice little retrieve out of that second one. That was just her picking it up out of a little bit of cover and having to get it out of there. Did she use her nose? Maybe a little bit, but not a ton. But that's it. Let's get her back to the house. Come on. And we're gonna go all the way back under control. So this is a nice way for us to get heel work back in areas that are a little bit tougher for her to focus. And it's a little bit lengthy now into this session because we've already done some formal heel work. We introduced a tennis ball over on the driveway. So I got to get good heel work without eating every blade of grass on the way back. Heel. But it's a real indication of her ability to focus time-wise is not that great, and we've probably exceeded it, so we're going to end it. So you'll see those are some of the firmest corrections you've seen me give her to date. And her whole body language changes when she gets that. She's responding to it. Dogs got to make mistakes in order to be corrected and understand stuff. Sit. Sit. Good. Heel. Good. And that'll do it.
Drive home, and I'm damned if I do, and I'm damned